A wealthy white man becomes paralyzed from the neck down due to an accident, and hires a recently released black ex-convict as his caretaker to manage his daily needs. This caretaker, aside from performing his duties, also takes the wealthy man on adventures to rediscover the thrill of life. Despite their vastly different backgrounds, the two men form a pure and genuine friendship, which all starts from a job interview. Philip is a wealthy businessman who, after a paragliding accident, becomes paralyzed from the neck down, losing the ability to take care of himself and requiring 24-hour assistance. On the day of the interviews, many candidates show up, including Driss. However, Driss isn't genuinely looking for a job. He's after the unemployment benefits that require him to be rejected from 3 job interviews. Many interviewees promise to take good care of Philip and help him lead a normal life. But Philip, who is fiercely independent and despises pity, sees this sympathy as disrespect. Driss, not really expecting to get the job, treats Philip without any pity due to his disability. Driss, who comes from the slums with little education and even steals a Fabergé egg from Philip, isn't immediately confronted. Instead, Philip keeps Driss's unemployment papers without revealing the theft. When Driss tries to give the stolen egg to his mother, he finds no welcome at home due to his aimless lifestyle and is kicked out. The next day, Driss returns to Philip's mansion to retrieve his unemployment papers, only to be informed by Philip that he's been hired and even provided with a luxurious room. With no job or place to stay, Driss accepts the position despite having no experience in caregiving and initially finds tasks like assisting Philip with his stockings beneath his dignity. However, he gradually becomes accustomed to his responsibilities. Driss doesn't hide his flirtatious nature, especially towards Philip's female secretary, which sometimes distracts him from his caregiving duties. Besides taking care of Philip's personal needs, Driss also helps with his business correspondence and outings. One day, when Philip needs to go out to meet a friend, Driss is reluctant to transport him in a van, feeling it would be undignified. Instead, he opts for Philip's unused Maserati. However, their departure is blocked by a neighbor's car which has been parked at Philip's rarely used entrance. Driss, known for his temper, confronts the car owner and warns him to park elsewhere. During Philip's outing with his friend, the friend cautions him about Driss, revealing that the female housekeeper found a knife in Driss's bag and had informed Philip's friend. Despite Driss's criminal record, Philip isn't concerned, convinced he's made the right choice in hiring Driss, who doesn't pity him. Philip, despite his paralysis, never wants to be seen as disabled, and Driss treats him without any special consideration. Their relationship evolves beyond employer-employee to something more akin to friendship. One evening, due to the side effects of his medication, Philip lies in bed in agony. To distract him, Driss takes him for a lakeside walk. At a restaurant, Philip opens up to Driss about his life. He had been happily married, but his wife suffered multiple miscarriages. To cope with the stress of infertility, the couple took up paragliding. However, an accident on a rainy day left Philip paralyzed, and his wife tragically passed away. Philip then asked Driss to return the stolen Fabergé egg, as it was an annual gift from his wife. Philip had received 25 such eggs over the years. Though Driss doesn't admit it, he decides to retrieve the egg. Unable to return home after being kicked out by his mother, Driss relies on his siblings to find the egg. During this time, he learns his brother has been detained by the police for a crime, so Driss personally bails him out. Despite his recent release, Driss's brother quickly returns to his bad influences. After his wife's death, Philip sought emotional connection and became pen pals with Eleanor from Dunkirk. They got along well, and Driss, upon discovering this, questions why Philip, having Eleanor's phone number, never initiated contact. Driss then decisively calls Eleanor. Although Philip initially resists, the conversation goes well and their relationship deepens. Eleanor suggests exchanging photos, but Philip is torn about revealing his paralysis. Driss selects a photo of Philip in his wheelchair, but Philip secretly swaps it for one taken before his paralysis. Driss's optimistic and straightforward nature leads him to upgrade Philip's wheelchair for a faster one. On Philip's birthday, his friends and family throw a lavish party. Driss feels out of place amid the aristocratic celebrations, but Philip introduces him to classical masterpieces. Driss then shares his favorite music, bringing life to the party with his infectious energy, and even Philip gets swept up in the excitement. Before going to sleep, Driss brings good news. Eleanor has replied, including a photo of herself, a beautiful woman expressing a desire to meet Philip. Driss places the photo by Philip's bed. Although Philip seems happy, he's internally troubled, knowing Eleanor is unaware of his disability. The day to meet Eleanor arrives. Driss and the housekeeper meticulously prepare Philip, but at the restaurant, Philip is extremely anxious about her reaction to his condition. Just before Eleanor's arrival, Philip hastily leaves the restaurant. Later, Driss takes Philip back to the site of the paragliding accident, surrounded by colorful gliders. This time, Philip asks Driss to help him experience flying once again. After their thrilling experience with extreme sports, Driss and Philip return home to find Driss's younger brother in the living room sporting a bruise on his face. Driss immediately knows his brother has gotten into trouble again. After settling his brother down, Driss and Philip have a heart-to-heart conversation, where Philip learns more about Driss's background. It turns out Driss was not born to his parents. He was adopted by his uncle and aunt, who were childless at the time when he was 8 years old. Surprisingly, his aunt later gave birth to 2 children, and after his uncle passed away, she remarried and had several more children. Driss's family situation is evidently complicated. At this point, Philip realizes that Driss, being the eldest, has his own life and responsibilities and cannot stay forever with someone disabled. With a heavy heart, Philip decides to let Driss go. Packing his bags, Driss leaves the mansion with his brother and returns home. Driss helps his brother cut ties with bad influences and secures a job as a truck driver. Meanwhile, Philip finds a new caregiver, but none compare to Driss. The new caregivers either see Philip as just an employer acting subserviently, or view him through a prejudiced lens, treating him as nothing more than his disability. Hearing about Philip's situation, Driss visits him after work, taking him for a wild ride through the streets and eventually to the seaside. The vast expanse of the sea uplifts Philip's spirits. Philip's beard, long neglected, makes him look dispirited. Driss decides to give him a shave, playfully arguing about the style, which brings a long missed smile to Philip's face. After tidying up, Driss takes Philip to a fancy restaurant and hands him the previously stolen Fabergé egg, telling him he has a little date and then leaves. Philip, sensing what's happening, sees a woman approaching him. It's Eleanor. Overwhelmed with emotion, Philip looks out the window to see Driss smiling at him before turning away to walk into the distance. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this.